Hey folks, what's up? This is One Big Bugga coming at you with another vlog. Yeah, no, my videos not only didn't get uploaded on Friday like they should have, they got uploaded late on Saturday because I typed in something in the description box of the Euro truck, and I put in accidentally something that you can't put in. They don't allow. So I didn't know this till I got home today, which I'm gonna go into in a minute. And long story short, they didn't get posted till I changed what was in the description box and then saved it. So, a couple of things I wanted to go over real quick. Other than the fact that I haven't uploaded much gameplay video, but that's par for the course for all I've ever been. Um, First off, I want to talk about like vehicle repairs and whatnot, going to garages and whatever else. Um, Yes, I look very bright white. I just bought um, some LED 100-watt light bulbs. I put them up in this light here because it burnt out the ones that I put in there not long ago, a month or two ago. Already, already burnt them out. So something wrong with the lamp itself, or maybe the. Sometimes I feel like the power in this house is just a little wonky. Did I not shave that spot? Well, I'm heading to the bathroom anyway, so I'll get it down there. Yeah, apparently I did that again. Doesn't matter. Uh, Anyways, I have a 2008 um, GMC Envoy, and it was a vehicle bought out of necessity. It's not the vehicle I wanted, but it's the vehicle I ended up getting. And I've had to do a lot of repairs on it recently. It's got 150,600 plus miles on it. That's a lot of miles. Uh, Mechanically, it's sound. The engine sound, everything mechanically sound, but electronically, it's having problems, which is par for the course for a lot of, especially older GMCs. Um, I've had to have both front speed sensors replaced. I've had to have the washer pump replaced for the windshield washers. It needs the back door, the hatchback door harness, the wiring harness replaced, which is like a $500 job. It needs the entire driver's side backup light harness replaced, which is another $215. Um, Probably a couple other small things that need to be done, but it's all electronical. But I'll get into all that in a second. Every time I've gotten this vehicle repaired, I have decided to go to the dealership to get it done. Now, when I say that, immediately some of you went, "Oh my God, you go to the dealership?" Yeah, actually, I do. Why? A lot of people believe that dealerships are going to rip you off. At one point, that may have been true. I don't think dealerships are going to rip you off anymore. Some dealerships maybe, but most dealerships will tend to be on the up and up. They have to be because they can very easily come into scrutiny. I think a dealership will cost you more than a lot of mechanics. I know that my dealership is $100 an hour for labor. So if it's a 2-hour job, it's $200 plus whatever the part costs, which is why it's a $500 job for the rear door harness, because it is very labor intensive. It's a long labor job. Actually, it's like $105. So that's where I'm paying a whole lot of money. So I had this guy who I bought the other try and tell me, "Oh, you know what? Here, so this is my mechanic. Just tell him I sent you. And save you 30%. Yeah, but here's the thing. I always believe in you get what you pay for. This Envoy has 150,000 plus miles on it. When I go to the dealership, I know that I'm not getting used or recertified parts. I'm getting brand new certified parts installed by a technician that specializes in GMC, Buick, and all those vehicles. I know the job's most likely going to be done right the first time. And I know that if they screw up, they're going to fix it on their dime. Well, that's not true. Au contraire, mon frere. Maybe some dealerships don't, but my dealership does, and today's the proof. When I got the speed sensors fixed, in checking the speed sensors, they found what they told me was an upper control arm needed to be replaced. Wonderful. So I got one speed sensor done, then I got another speed sensor done. When I got that speed sensor done, when I got the second speed sensor done, I said, hey, how much to get the upper control arm replaced? I had about $330, $350. I'll schedule that at the beginning of December. I called them up, said, all right, I want to bring it in and get the upper control arm replaced. You guys already diagnosed it. You guys found it. The only reason I know about it is because you guys told me about it. So it's in my history. Oh, yeah, no problem. We'll go back and look into your history. We'll find it. Now, they did find that the mechanic said that there was an upper control arm that needed to be replaced. But he never marked which upper control arm needed to be replaced. So they had to go back and re-examine the upper control arms. That is technically a diagnostic. But because they screwed up and did not mark down which control arm it was, they didn't charge me to figure out which control arm it was. That's number one. Number two, the service department rep that I was working with, I usually work with one in particular, but he was off today, so I was working with what I like to call my backup rep. I work with him when the other guy's not there. Came to me and he said, you know, we were looking, and the upper control arm's fine. Actually, what the problem is that the upper and lower ball joints are stripped. Actually, the upper ball joint's just kind of bad, and the lower ball joint and the boot's stripped, and those need to be replaced. So, under a lot of circumstances, these parts come with the control, but these can be serviced. He said, do you remember how much he quoted you for the control arm? I said, yeah, about $330, $350. He said, well, normally this would be more because these parts would be $215 to $250. He said, but I'm going to honor the original quoted price. Now, why? Why would he do that? If you had gone to any mechanic and he told you, oh yeah, no, upper control arm needs to be replaced. A lot of mechanics, and these are the ones I don't trust. I'm not saying all mechanics. I know there are some good mechanics out there. I've had good mechanics. And you may be one of those good mechanics. But there are a lot of mechanics I don't trust. It's mechanics I don't trust. Because I've been taken for a ride by a couple mechanics. And I'll go into that a little bit too. They misdiagnosed my vehicle. Said it was the upper control arm that needed to be replaced. But upon a second inspection, saw that it was the ball joints. They know that I usually come there with money in mind of what I need to have serviced. And it's not my fault they screwed up. They didn't get it right. So they chose to honor the original agreement. $330. And in short, what they did was only charge me for 1 hour labor on a 2-hour job. They charged me the full price for the parts, 1 hour for labor, 2 hour job, tax, and all that, and it all came out to the same. That's why I go to a dealership. You get what you pay for. You get the certified parts. You get a certified mechanic. You're going to drive out of there knowing it's done properly. It's done right. And if they screw up, I'll give you another example. When I got the speed sensors done, the first speed sensor I had done, with the diagnostic, cost me about $500. So I talked to the guy. I said, okay, so when I come back and I get the second speed sensor done, it was like 400, it was like 460, $470. So it'll be about 370, right? He goes, yeah. So okay. I came back at the speed sensor done, came in, he said to me, okay, it's going to be 600. And I went, what? And he goes, what? I said, you better go back and check. I said, because you quoted me 370. And now you're telling me almost 700 for a single sensor. You quoted me 700 something for both. And he goes, oh, he goes, you know, you're right. He goes, how did I get to that figure? He's going on, he says, I can't figure out. And I know there was a special. The thing is they screwed up. But they screwed up to a point they couldn't go all the way back. And I was upset. I could have put my foot down, but I said, you know what? I'll work with you. I can't pay what you're wanting me to. And they rolled it back to about 500 rather than 7. It got $200 off. So instead of being about 4, it was 5 rather than 7. So I said, I can't pay all that, but I'll pay you for now. Now I'm going to come back in 2 weeks. I'll give you the 100. They did. I came back in 2 weeks, gave them the other 100, and we were clear. I wasn't happy about it, but it worked out in the end. It wasn't terrible, and I needed that work done. If any of you who don't understand, speed sensors measure the wheel speed. And what happens when your speed sensors go bad is when your wheels get down to about 5 miles an hour, the sensors in the wheels think they're stopped, that they're locked, but the vehicle is still moving. So the car goes, oh, wheels are locked up, vehicle's still moving, I must employ the anti-lock brakes. So your anti-lock brakes are kicking in, and there's no need for that. And it's actually very detrimental to your brakes. And so I needed to get those 2 wheel sensors done. And they're an expensive repair. Now, it is painful for me financially to do all this because this vehicle is I've only had it about 7, maybe 8 months. About 8 months. And I've already had to put out a lot of money. And if I want to get everything back up to par, I got to put out another, at least $1,000. And that doesn't even include the thing I fucked up, which is the hood, which is another $300 to get it painted or replaced. But that's beside the point. The point is, this is why I go to the dealership. Funny thing is, the dealership actually has the cheapest oil change in town. I went to Jiffy Lube, my first oil change. I figured, Jiffy Lube, yeah. $120 for a 7-quart oil change in Jiffy Lube. You know how much it cost me at the dealership? You know how much it cost me at the dealership? $50. For a high mileage oil change. $50. How's that? It's going to be cheaper to get my tires balanced and rotated at the dealership than anywhere else in town. I've already looked. It'd be about another $50 to get them balanced and rotated in town. I believe in the dealership. Maybe I do pay more for repairs, but I get what I pay for. I know those repairs will be done properly with a part, with the proper part installed. Oh, that's the mattress. It's like, what the hell is that? It's the mattress. With the proper part installed properly. And I've noticed the difference when I drove out. For the longest time when I drive in this thing, yeah, I'd turn the wheel and I'd kind of feel this like little stutter in the wheel sometimes on a hard turn. Like I'd have to turn the wheel quickly and I feel this. It was the ball joint. And sometimes the traction control, or they call the stability track, it wouldn't sensor right, and it wouldn't turn on. And I'd have to stop the vehicle, turn it off on the side of the road, restart, and then everything would be fine. It may have been because of the ball joint. It may not have been. That remains to be seen. I'm hoping that getting the ball joint done fixes it, because that'll mean that it's not something else I have to get fixed. But again, it's not a critical. If the stability track light does come on, and it only comes on after you first start the vehicle. It's like start the vehicle, drive, stability light comes on. Pull the vehicle over, turn it off, restart the vehicle, drive, it doesn't come back on, which means the stability track's working. It's not critical, at least not yet. So I've got all the critical stuff in the vehicle so far done. Knock on wood. Hopefully nothing else does. But yeah, I believe in the dealership. And I recommend, if you have vehicles and you're getting them repaired and you don't have a trusted mechanic and you don't know where to go, you're not sure where to go, try the dealership. Maybe you'll pay more, but it might be worth it for that peace of mind. And if you go to the dealership enough, the dealership will start taking care of you. Because I'm going to tell you the honest truth. Now, I'm not telling you which dealership I've been going to, specifically because of the breaks they've given me. When I went for that oil change, it would have cost me $50. It would have cost me $50, which would have been cheaper by far than anywhere else in town or the surrounding area. You want to know how much it actually cost me? Nothing. Guy said, "Hey, Justin, your vehicle's done." I got up, got my wallet out. He goes, "Don't bother. You're a loyal customer. I took care of it. Have a nice day." I'm not kidding. It was a free oil change. I didn't pay for it. The only thing I want to get done now, and I don't have the money right now, and I don't know if I'll have the money or when I'll have the money, is to get a Bluetooth radio installed. I'm going to have that done by Best Buy, I think. Just go down, buy a radio from Best Buy, have them install it. I've already figured it's going to be about $350. The radio, $350 to $400. It'll be about $350 to $400. Mainly because of the installation. There's a particular harness that needs to be done because I have the Bose stereo, which is a boosted radio, so it needs a particular harness, which is $120. It's $70 installation plus the hardware that they use, and that's the big one. There's a particular harness that's $120 that kicks the price of the installation up, which I'm willing to pay for. I just need the money. I would have done it now, but the ball joints is a little bit more important than the radio. So, yeah. There's that. Now, what else do I want to talk about? Well, we all know the big subject's going on right now. That's 12 days away. That's net neutrality. And net neutrality is on the shelf to be eliminated again. And by all accounts, it's going to be eliminated because they managed to, out of a 5-person party, put 3 people on that are going to vote net neutrality out. This is not something that's going up in front of Congress or the Senate. This is going to be done by the FCC itself. There's only 5 people, and 3 people are going to vote it off, including the Verizon's back pocket supposed top, not supposed, former top lawyer who's trying to do this whole thing. Big companies don't need to be regulated. They don't need rules and laws. They'll take care of themselves. Without net neutrality, there'll be competition and this and that. Bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit. Bullshit. 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 Big companies will often work together to help keep prices in a regulated area. If you don't believe me, all you need to do is look at gas prices. Gas prices tend to be the same no matter what company or where you are. When gas prices shot way up back when the Gulf War started, remember, all the big oil companies were represented by a single lawyer. All the big oil companies were represented by a single lawyer. You're going to tell me that Time Warner, Verizon, and Comcast won't do the same things and won't kind of make sure that this cash cow that they've just been handed won't, that they'll fight amongst themselves for it? No, that's not going to happen. That's not even going to be close to what happens. However, even if net neutrality does get repealed, I believe it'll be reinstated. Why? Because the groups that are involved in this, because I believe that because it's the FCC and because it's these 3 people that don't give a rat's ass unless Congress literally steps in and takes control, which they're not going to do. What Congress can't agree on what day it is, let alone actually step in, take control, and go, hey, no, you're not allowed to do this. The groups that are kind of together to fight this have already stated, if net neutrality is repealed, they're going to take the FCC and net neutrality to court. And there's a law, I don't know the specifics of it, but there's basically a law in place to help prevent exactly what's going on right now from happening. It's to prevent capricious decisions. In short, rules and regulations that are put into place and fought for by one administration are protected from being demolished by the next administration that steps in. We just fought and defended net neutrality last year in court. Just last year in court, we as people, as groups, and eBay and Amazon and Google/YouTube and Reddit and all these big major corporations and companies all came together. Senators, congressmen, the general public all came together, made our voice very clearly heard that we want net neutrality. And we defended it against the government and in court just last year. And here comes this guy going to just overrule everything, bypass Congress, bypass everything, and just have 3 people out of 5 vote net neutrality out. Well, this law helps prevent that. Net neutrality was set up, put in place, the laws and everything was fought for by the Obama administration last year. This law helps protect it from being demolished by FCC and the administration that is put in place by the Trump administration. So, if they do strip net neutrality, this stands a really good chance of reinstating it if they drag it to court. This stands a really, really, really good chance of putting net neutrality back in place. So I have hope that even if net neutrality falls, that it'll be back because of this law that prevents capricious decisions which basically says, hey, we just fought for this law. We just put it in place. Just because there's a new administration, that does not mean you're allowed to demolish and destroy it because you've got more people in place now that favor what you want. No. But I still recommend, and all of the 20 or 30 people of you that are going to watch this, do what you can. I actually went and I had a list of, and I went through and I made my voice heard to my congressmen, to my senators about I want net neutrality. And you need to step up and do something about this. All right? The internet is a resource for everyone. We use it every day to go shopping, to game, to pay bills, to research, to watch videos for entertainment, to read, to navigate, everything. It's become an integrated part of everyone's and everyday's lives. It is not something to be cut up and divided up into pieces and packages for large companies to charge us more money. We've already seen what happens when large companies go unregulated and are allowed to run rampant with no rules. I'm looking at you, EA, and your loot boxes and your predatory practices, which you've already put back into UFC 2. I'm looking at you. You're the proof of what will happen when a large company goes unchecked with no rules and no regulations. You're the proof. And we're about to allow Verizon, Comcast / Xfinity, whatever the hell you want to call it, and Time Warner to do this. We're about to allow them to do this. To which we're going to have to pay extra money for data caps and fast lanes and packages. No, you know what? I already pay $180 fucking dollars a month for my cable, my phone, and my internet. I don't want to have to pay $200, $220, $230. I already pay Verizon fucking $225 a month for my cell phone bill. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Net neutrality needs to stand, and I really hope, and I have a lot of faith, that even if it's repealed by this ridiculous FCC that we know for a fact is only doing this because this former Verizon lawyer that got fast-tracked into the FCC top spot. I mean, let's think about this for a second. Net neutrality was overwhelmingly supported. Net neutrality was overwhelmingly supported by the people, overwhelmingly defended just last year, and here comes this schmuck who's bypassing everything and is just going to have it repealed by 3 people, himself and 2 other lackeys who want it removed. 3 people get to override everything that was done just last year to protect net neutrality. No. No. Enough is enough. So I have a lot of hope that and I really hope these people drag this to court, that this law to prevent capricious decisions by overzealous new administrations really jumps in. And I swear, I really swear, I hope and I pray, I hope and I pray that Donald Trump gets impeached. Seriously. I thought it was funny that he got as far as he did. I shook my head when he actually became the prime candidate. And I was staring at disbelief when he actually won. And I thought, poor Hillary. Because, you know, it was a choice of 2 evils in my eyes between Hillary and Donald. But at least Hillary was a politician. Much like George W. I mean, it is a sad state in this world when I would rather have George W. Bush back in office than Donald Trump. I would never cause harm to anyone, at least that didn't try to cause harm to me or those I love. So I would never try to do anything to Donald Trump. I'd never try to hurt him, shoot him, kill him, nothing. I'd never do anything like that. All right? Let me make that abundantly clear for anyone who may get this message. We all know what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you right now, if somebody were to assassinate Donald Trump, if somebody were to pull a trigger, I would not shed a tear. I wouldn't laugh. I wouldn't joke. I wouldn't dance. But I wouldn't shed a tear either. You know what I'd do? I'd breathe a sigh of relief. It's like, oh, geez, thank you. He's gone. I'd feel bad for his family. I feel bad for his friends, like anyone else. But I would not shed a tear. Because, my God, this guy does not need to be in charge of the country. You know, epic rap battles of history back when Obama was first running for president. I forget who he was running against. But the guy was from business. And they basically said at one point, it's a country, not a company, that you can run or play like Monopoly. Which is exactly what Donald Trump's doing. He's running the country like a business, and we're not a business. He's making everything friendly for business. They're talking about tax breaks and tax cuts in the billions or trillions for big business, for large companies. And this is going to benefit everyone. No. If you give a tax break or big business, if you give tax breaks and tax cuts to big businesses, what are they going to do? They're not going to invest that. They'll invest some of that money back in their own business. But for the most part, they'll give bonuses to themselves, to the executives, to the higher-ups. They'll pocket it and put that into their banks. They might invest some into the market. They'll make themselves richer. You give tax breaks to the middle class and to the lower class, who needs it more than the middle class. You give it to the working classes, to the lower classes, to the poor. What do when we get those tax breaks? We spend it. We turn around and put that money back into the economy, as has done every time tax cuts and tax breaks have come along the line. It's been proven time and time again. What happens every year? What happens every freaking year when people get their taxes? Most people, not all, but most people spend that money on things they can't afford the rest of the year. Me, I'm looking to get a new computer. How many people go on vacation, use that money to pay for a vacation, or get large appliances, or to get a car, or to put money towards buying a home? How many people use tax returns to buy and do things they normally couldn't do? That money that they get goes right back into the economy. I'll tell you, if he got impeached, if he got assassinated, if he just disappeared, if aliens came down and took his ass away, and why I don't know, because they look for intelligent life and they would not find it in him. I know I'm going off the rails here. I'm sorry if this bothers you, upsets you. I normally don't like to get political, but I can't help it. I would not shed a tear. I would not. I would be relieved. If they said that the only way they could get rid of Trump was to bring George W. Bush back, I'd be like, take him. I'll take Junior back. People say, well, Junior started a war that caused the death of... and terrorism, this and that. Yeah, well, excuse me. Trump signed a bill going over the head of Congress and everybody else that barred all Muslims, Middle East, basically, I'm not surprised, all the Middle East, from the country, from coming over from the country. Stranded, I don't know how many people from coming into the country. Just one day, people coming from the Middle East were told, nope, you're not allowed. They had to take it to court and overturn it. They had to take it to court and overturn it. In a celebration with Indians, he makes a joke about Pocahontas. You know, I say I'd never caused harm to anyone, but like, I'm sure that if I hung around Donald Trump long enough, I'd probably lose my temper and at least punch him in the mouth. To which that would be the end of anything I ever did again. Still. I mean, probably off of everything I said, but when I post up this video, within a few hours of posting this video, there's going to be 3 or 4 black vans up and down the road outside my house. People knocking on my door. But I just can't help it. I thought we had the village idiot in George W. God, no. We have the village idiot now. And we have another 3 years of this guy. If something doesn't happen to get rid of him. Poor Hillary. Maybe she wasn't the best choice, but she was better than this. She deserved to win. I didn't like either one of them. But I'd rather her than him. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off the rails there. That rant just kind of came out of nowhere. All born out of net neutrality. Basically, I think it just comes because Donald Trump is just doing things for big business. He's doing things for businesses. Laws being repealed for businesses. Just you all saw that thing where they had that kind of like peace meeting, whatever it was, the world meeting, and he literally like shoved and shouldered a prime minister out of his way, and then like literally was like stood up in front of everybody, trying to look all big and important. And he looked like a damn fool. He looked like an idiot. He looked like exactly what he is. So if this country goes to hell in a handbasket, folks, your fault. You voted for him. It's not my fault. Oh, tell you. Anyways, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. I'll try and get more gameplay videos up. Like I said, the gameplay videos that went up today were actually supposed to go up yesterday, so at least I got 2 days in. But I got sidetracked, and then they were uploaded. They were supposed to go up early today, but I screwed up in the description box of one of the videos, and because of that, it didn't post either one. And I couldn't fix that till I got home, and I had to wait here. I was out. I had to wait at the dealership for at least almost 4 or 5 hours for them to do everything for my Envoy. And then I had to go food shopping, which was another hour and a half. So, yeah, that's why it took so long for the videos to post today. So, I really don't have much to do tomorrow. Maybe I'll try tomorrow. Maybe I'll try Monday. We'll see. Other than that, folks, again, I'm sorry for getting so political and going on a rant. Can't help it, though. It's how I feel. It's what I believe in. And that's that. Until next time, this is going to be One Big Bugga, and I'm going to be signing out. We'll see you.